the storm that you dreamed in. Just hold on to Jesus and ride out your storm. Ride out your storm. God is still with you. You may not feel it, but you're not alone. You're hurting now, but your morning is coming. Lord of mercy, just hold on to Jesus and ride out your storm. Remember his promise. He said, I never forsake you. Though the waters are troubled, they'll do you no harm. Don't give up the battle, for your answer is coming. Just hold on to Jesus and just ride out your storm. Ride out your storm. God is still with you. You may not feel it, but you're not alone. You're hurting now, but your morning is coming. Lord of mercy, just hold on to Jesus and ride out your storm.
Springtime, days over now, it's springtime. I put my wife and my kids and my friends and my neighbors, they all are feeling fine. Just put the troubles and the worries behind. You can put all your trust in the Father, cause I know He's so kind. Some people call on the Father when they are so in need, but I will call on the Savior, cause He's always there for me. Springtime, what is up and now it's springtime. I put my wife and my kids and my friends and my neighbors, they all are feeling fine. Just put the troubles and the worries behind. You can put all your trust in the Father, cause I know He's so kind. If Jah was ever like mankind, maybe the sun wouldn't shine, cause we have broke His commandments and displeased Him so many times. For prior a day, and I'm okay. Prior a day, keep the devil away. Prior a day, with Jah I'll stay. Prior a day, yeah. Some people are so hard to believe that faith move a mountain and a prayer is the key. Hard to believe that there is hope for you and me. It's prayer.
When I die, I live again. Oh, glory, hallelujah.
Welcome to this media conference at the Ministry of Health.
I just want to close on one note because I just got the information maybe about 20 minutes ago. I noticed that it is being said by the opposition that if the Couva Hospital was opened and the NICU was operating, this may not have happened. I have a brief from Udicot, which says, as far as the Couva Hospital is concerned, there was no NICU. Which says, as far as the Couva Hospital is concerned, there was no NICU. It was a children's hospital. It was a 4-bed special care baby unit for less urgent cases. There was no NICU according to this brief I just got from Udicot. There was a special SCBU, which is a special care baby unit. It is for what they call less urgent cases. As far as the Couva Hospital is concerned, there was no NICU. There was no NICU. There was no NICU. As far as the Couva Hospital is concerned,
Welcome to this media conference at the Ministry of Health.
I just want to close on one note because I just got the information maybe about 20 minutes ago. I noticed that it is being said by the opposition that if the Couva Hospital was opened and the NICU was operating, this may not have happened. I have a brief from Udicot, which says, as far as the Couva Hospital is concerned, there was no NICU. Which says, as far as the Couva Hospital is concerned, there was no NICU. It was a children's hospital. It was a 4-bed special care baby unit for less urgent cases. There was no NICU according to this brief I just got from Udicot. There was a special SCBU, which is a special care baby unit. It is for what they call less urgent cases. As far as the Couva Hospital is concerned, there was no NICU. There was no NICU. There was no NICU. As far as the Couva Hospital is concerned,
Welcome to this media conference at the
Yes, indeed, of course. Welcome, of course, to tonight's program on the corridor transformation. I thought it would, of course, be propitious, appropriate, significantly so, to demonstrate in a very practical way the Greek concept as to when the gods wish to send you mad, who the gods wish to destroy, they will first send you mad. Well, the assassin and, of course, Rowley and they clearly have gone mad. How you could tell us that you got information from Udicot that there was no neonatal unit in the Couva Hospital? Wishful thinking. Any port for a storm of embarrassment and insistent, if you have any moral sinew or any modicum of respect for yourself, you would blasted resign. How could you make such what I consider to be not erroneous, but a blatant lie nestled in wishful thinking, illusion and delusion, wishing and hoping that that which he is saying is so, unless Udicot tried to set him up. And of course, he was doing a good job of that on his own. He, the assassin. How you could, what manner of individual, whether you are the minister, or you are a doctor, or you are a lawyer, or you are a teacher, or you are a handyman, or you are office clerk, or you are garbage cleaner, or you are garbage collector, or you are truck driver, a backhoe driver, a crane driver, an ordinary taxi driver. The assent cannot tell me that he being in the unique position of minister and the government in the unique position of being the repository of all the resources of the country, the public resources, that when Kamala Prasad Bisasande ventured into the construction of a children's hospital, and eventually after construction and just about the end of their term in 2015, literally cut the ribbon to open it. A children's hospital. And this big man, this big nincompoop, and I referred, of course, to all of those persons who would be less academically inclined, would be less familiar, or put another way, sophisticated. And you telling me all of them without exception, wouldn't know that if you say you have a children's hospital, that equipment relating to children, to the birth of children, the thing is trying to tell us that all of those persons will think that there is an absence of these fundamental basic equipment that one would have expected in a children's hospital to take care of the pediatric requirements, prenatal or antenatal, ANTE, antenatal, or postnatal. You can't tell me that. The man is a backside, and you want to hit him one clout. Apart from hitting Rowley, you have a sweet occipital region in the back of your head for a clout. It is nothing different to Hines. Imagine in the parliament of the country, Hines has asked the fundamental question relating to why it is that fire officers at the headquarters on Rice Road took their mattresses or their beds to another part of the facility, out of their dormitory, the place that was designated for them to take a relax while they're waiting, of course, on activity or while on duty. Of course, they swing into activity, they wait, and like a shopkeeper, they swing into action when they are called to a fire. A shopkeeper waits until a customer comes before he or she swings into action to get a sale. They took their beds from the dormitory and placed it in some other part of the building because for 7 months, 6 air-conditioned units were not working. You know what I say? I say 6, 5, and 1, 6 air-conditioned units were not working in the dormitory at headquarters. You see, I want to be meticulous, and I wanted to show simultaneously the naked and unadulterated inability, non-capacity, and certainly inadequacy of the Rowley administration and those persons that he put in office. And one expects from time to time things are not going to move smoothly. And therefore, from time to time, you'll have to deal with challenges or problems that may pop up. One of which clearly is the non-functioning of air-conditioned units. But come on, 7 months, 6 air-conditioned units not working? And that is information coming from the fire service, trade union, or welfare association. The fire service. Understand it? 7 months. Then, of course, when the information hit the public media and the social media, and they hustle to find the money to repair, are saying all this meticulously with a high degree of particularity, because I don't want you to miss any syllable, so that I can make the argument as to the level of arseness that has invaded the Rowley administration and some little boys, some not just neophytes, but some infantile individuals, some puerile individuals purporting to be minister and purporting to have gone to university, etc., etc. And where the simple truth and confession that, listen, somebody fell down and that you will take appropriate action, even if you don't. But tell the public that to allay, to appease, to make yourself look as though you are serious about government. But imagine Hines goes to the parliament, 7 months. The firemen took to take that drastic action that generated public disquiet and interest. And I want to tell you that in the context of so many other issues of a similar nature, whether it be the breaking down of the vessels between Trinidad and Tobago, whether it be the inability of this government to give a straight and honest reason as to why they closed down Petrotrin, a solid and rational and common sense reason for the spending of over $200 million on Train 1, for which no returns can be had because there is simply no gas for that to function. And just like Rowley and Stuart Young, they make these incongruent, they make these defiant of logic and common sense and intellectual input. They get on as if they are in cerebral and, of course, intellectual decline. And that engaging, of course, in what is sometimes called cognitive dissonance, wishing something to be when in fact it is not, and when, of course, they don't get their wish, even though it never existed, is a phantom, they then, of course, are trying to bring another story, phantasmagorical as they are. Understand, people? But before we go further, and before I conclude with Hines, and of course, the assassin, let me say a pleasant good night to all and sundry East, West, North, South, Central, or Friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is the Sunday night edition of the Corridor Transformation. I want to say that this morning between 8 and 10 o'clock, yes, a return of the Sunday morning program with, of course, Dr. Khalid and myself. We had a wonderful time. And, of course, we know that and knew that many would not have known, because after the program, people were asking, calling and asking, we didn't know. Well, let me tell you, do not miss it next Sunday. Between 8 in the morning this time and 10. We have a fixation on 8 and 10. But of course, in this case, on a Sunday, 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 in the morning. And then, of course, we come as we are doing now from 8 to 10 o'clock in the night. Let's not get confused, because the information is too crucial. It's too significant. It's too important for us to miss these time and dates. So once again, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, or Friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Let me say, by way of house information, so to speak, that to get us on YouTube, you can key in, of course, the Corridor Transformation. But to get us on Facebook, you'll have to key in, look for Love, L-O-V-E, Laventil, and you should get us there. Our original Corridor Transformation Facebook page has been hacked, as you know, and I've been making, of course, overtures and issuing bulletins in that regard, so I think by now all knows. We have not taken it down as yet because, as I said, I want to download all of the past programs there, because Facebook predated YouTube insofar as programs are concerned, and therefore I don't want to lose those programs by pulling down the page and losing those past programs, because we need them for our archives and for posterity. So that is important. And then, of course, you can call now. We said we will lift, of course, any restraint on calling. So you can call us now, anytime during the course of the program, until, of course, we put some, what I consider to be restraint. But for the time being, 337-6940, 337-6940. And I want to tell all of those who have called, especially as a result of this morning's program, and made offerings as to what programs they would have either encountered, or they would have researched, or they would have observed, and have, of course, send them to me, so that I can do my own evaluation to see if they can fit into the human capacity development initiative that the Empowerment Resource Center, which of course is the facility we have at George Street, whether we can fit that in, incorporate it into, of course, that widespread program that we have for the advancement of those young people, in particular, their development and the transformation. Let's go straight to the lines. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good night, welcome. Pleasant good night, welcome.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox.
Pleasant good night to you.
Slave catchers.
Yes, indeed.
And the slave. And all your value us and listeners on the World Wide Web for intelligent talk and understanding. Mr. Lennox, good night again.
Here what's going on. That fellow they call the Alsing, his wife is a big contractor. And when they finished $500 million book, it was shoddy. It had problems. It was not completed in the way it's supposed to be of best standard and practice. It had an accident that we could call on the beatum. Then he know he was right on the wrong side, and he claimed that he's right. So I just built a case to show how wrong this fellow is, and he can still be right because you're wrong. You know, right? So he always on the right side of the wrong things. He said we are #1 in the world, and yet still he can't get it right. And that's to show you how nasty they are. They don't understand what is caring for people, because they went into an office and in a party for themselves. And I would like to show the listeners attention where this fella Mustang is grazing in green pasture at all times, and we can use water to invade and wash the yard because it's not COVID residue and Sahara dust. This no, it started off in the Parliament just Friday gone. So you see when they were thieving the money, because I like to talk it plain now, and they get catch in the Parliament because the Auditor General show them where money is missing and where they are fabricating the evidence to just say our country is well and good. And when your co-host on the other show say that we are headed to hell in a gasoline soaked bag already light, the evidence was there for you to see it. And why I'm saying all these things, I wonder if people understand it, but that's what is drawing their attention. So how these people are taking the money, the wealth of this country for their own personal gains. And we are the citizens and not benefiting. 18 lives, you know, Mr. Lennox. Just imagine. War is going on in Kosovo, down in Ukraine, and look in Gaza, right? And yet still, children are dying so, right? They and them in the war zone where missiles just flying and debris, and they're coming with all sorts of things to hoodwink and to mislead. And the greatest misleading information I see today is when they say that the minister is not responsible. So I want to ask the question on the show. What kind of facility is have for emergency for a newborn in Point? What have in Arima? And the new big 800 million one is Sandy Grande. What it have in place since the Cuba didn't have it. And the Chinese and them embassy will have to come to answer that contract. Good night, Mr. Lennox. I'll call back if it's 8.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, you have to make a mockery of them. You have to lampoon them. You have to caricature them because they are total dumbfounded backsides. A children's hospital doesn't have neonatal facilities. This is what this man trying to tell us. After, well, now we know it's 20-something deaths over the last, I think, year or two. But we're dealing with the more existential. It has moved from 7 to 18. And in order for him to bow his head in shame and get out of our faces, he's trying to tell us that there was no neonatal facilities in a children's hospital. I mean, you had to be an ass, one clout. But let's go straight. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, caller. Sorry about that. But I got carried away. One clout for your stupidity. A children's hospital has no neonatal facility in it. I mean, who does he think he is? But let's go straight, of course. Let's go straight to the line. Let's go straight to the handheld line. Let's go straight to the handset. Our pleasure, good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
You hear me good there?
Yeah, loud and clear. But just again, our next call in, so let me ask them to hold on. Caller, if no, Mr. Tagariga, you talk, but this new caller, please hold on. Having someone first, and then I'll take you. All right, if you can.
Okay.
Okay then. Right. So go ahead, Mr. Tagariga.
All right. So you hear me loud and clear, right?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Let me tell you how nasty that man is, that young thing, man. Let me remind you. Remember the lawyer that you call Odai?
Yeah.
Who daughter just where she put in the water?
Yeah.
During COVID, and how that man waste down that girl, boy?
Yes. I remember that. Yes.
Nasty, stinking, unbecoming way.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer replied to him and gave it good. And you know what hurt me? That lawyer went back and apologized to that stinking son of a... I can't say what I want to say.
Well, maybe then he didn't know what we know today. I'm sure he is asking for the retrieving of that apology. I'm sure he's saying, I don't want to apologize. I X off that. Because the amount... Yeah, go ahead.
If that was my daughter, she'd have waited me down. Probably they sold me.
Yeah.
Probably put a cutlass on me too because I hold up.
Yes.
That man is a nasty, stinking man, boy. When you're a man girl like that, that's Jesus Christ.
A total nincompoop. I mean, obnoxious. And when they believe that they are correct, they could be savage. They could be uncompromising. They are unrelenting, and they could think about the nastiest thing to say.
But he's one
vitriolic, yes, and excoriating, yes. But as soon, but when the back is against the wall like now, they're looking and saying anything, looking like total and absolute donkeys without head. Go ahead.
The whole world know the cure for any disease you have, cold or whatever, is salt water. And then ban people from going in the sea and all kind of thing.
Yes.
But you see what that man, they do that
and we ended up with one of the highest death rate in COVID. After them spent $22 billion, and only Friday they're looking to hide their inability to account for the monies that they would have spent, inclusive of COVID.
Yeah, that man had no character at all, boy. Like that nasty, stinking man, boy. I have to say like that.
Yes.
I'm coming to lie, boy.
Yes, still on top of that, and in your face, ablum, that straight face, not even a Janus face, not even a double face. Yeah.
But I always remember that incident with that young girl.
Yeah, all right.
And we saw that girl as though, you know.
Yes. We have another person waiting for call. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Sorry about that, caller. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Lennox. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
And the video is perfect too, right? You don't have a problem with the video?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Let me tell you. And the audio is good. Everything is good. You guys are really moving up. And
yeah, we're working. We are conscious and we are determined. And that will get you places, yes.
You also need some funding too. That would help. Anyway, money's always good. We just have to ask the PNM, right? I swear to God. Let me ask you something, Lennox. Why is this man still talking about the neonatal unit and saying that there was never any and all of that, yada yada, and getting up there? And then Kamala comes back and she says, yes, there was one. And he says, why don't we just get a freaking camera in there and let me go and visit inside that hospital? Why can't we send a crew in there and visit inside of that hospital, room by room? What is wrong with the public asking for that? The other thing I want to say is that Jayawanti Ramdas, who is the Auditor General, is a very bright woman. You know, she worked with a lot of big accounting firms. She has an MBA. She knows the inside, outside of of fraud. She knows about crime. She knows about white collar crime. She's a good auditor general, but she's very patient and she needs to be more aggressive. And she is granted that by the Constitution. She has the power, she has discretion to do a lot more than what she's doing. She has the right to demand reports on time. She has a right to demand that every report is made public, published in the newspaper, and explain in simple terms to the people how the money is being spent by these ministries. That is her job. But you see, the Auditor General's office has a history since the 1800s. I think it was 1862 or 63, sometime like that, when England created this Auditor General's office for accounting because of all the plantations they had down here, the English, the white people. So you have all these overseers, and they were using this, they were planting and using workers, indentured laborers, and many freed slaves too, because they were very poor. We have to remember poverty was real big at that time with the former slaves. And we don't talk about that. So everything had to be accounted for because these thievings, land plantation owners were very crooked and they were robbing England of money. So you had to create an auditor's office. So that's what they did. And for years, England would constantly send all of their accountants to Trinidad, all the islands that they had, and they would compare the books to see if anybody cooked in the books. But when we got independence, we carried on that tradition of auditing the books. But for years, the Auditor General's office has lost its power because I think politics play a role in this. And I feel like the shield that she had, or he, to wield against corruption and to fight it and to crush it, it's been taken away and chipped away because of biases in that office. And I think that office is somewhat of a shell because it's not showing the authoritativeness that we need to see, the forthrightness and the transparency. And they're too weak. They're always crawling because every time a ministry comes before the Joint Select Committee and they talk about funding and they're going through the audit report, they are always late or they never file. And we don't say anything. Our people are quiet. The newspaper is quiet. Nobody talks about the accounting. We do not know how many billions were spent last year. Remember COVID? 500 million USD was taken out and we have no idea where that money went. That's billions of dollars. What did they do? Well, we know during COVID, a lot of stuff was being built. After COVID, everybody was opening businesses, they pour money into training, but we didn't see any of the benefits of what they've done. Have you seen anything that they did? I don't see anything. Everything still looked like when they were back here before COVID. I don't see any changes.
They and all have not been able to see anything because they have not told us. So therefore, they have.
Well, they wouldn't tell
blind.
you.
They are also myopic. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, they wouldn't tell you. Why should they come and tell us that they squandered the money? Will we go kill them? There'll be an uproar. But we know what's going on. But what they'll do is they'll quiet the media. They'll shut down the Auditor General's office. And what will Kamala do? Well, we are going to fight and accept a pre-action protocol. Nothing will change because even during her tenure, that office was always very shaky. And it needs to be strengthened. And it needs to be transparent because that is the accounting office for every single ministry, every single office, even the police department. So we need to know how that money is being spent. And she needs to publish this report in the newspaper in layman's terms so we poor people who came here as former slaves, the lineages of slaves and the lineages of indentured laborers, we could understand what is going on. And we could make a decision now. Educate us. Because that is your job, lady. Really, it is. And you need to stand really strong because people supporting you now. We want you to stand tall and fight this prime minister and show him that you love this country. That is my comment. You have to love this country to fight for it. All right, thanks, Lennox.
Thank you very much. But I'm glad that issue of the Auditor General has raised its head in this live. It gives me an opportunity to rationalize and to meticulously understand, with of course your concurrence and of course your own inputs as well, that in spite of the notion that the Auditor General statements are usually late and there are discrepancies across the political divide once in government, what transpired on Friday is an anomaly. It is not par for the course. It is a strange occurrence. It is almost an enigma. Because you see, whilst Auditor General statements might be late, and while Auditor General statements, their contents, may criticize a particular ministry for either being tardy or that there is no receipts to match expenditure, in this particular case, the government on Friday asked, with its slim majority, only 22, well, in that case it was 19 seats in the parliament, asked for a deferral of the report to be laid in the parliament, because the law is that once it reaches the parliament, it must be laid. And that was on the order paper to be laid in the parliament. There is no ifs or buts, and there is nothing anybody could do but late. So the government comes up with this, what I consider to be anti-accountable notion, always with some pernicious or what I consider to be insidious and criminal intent. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night.
Hey, Lennox Smith, a pleasant good night to you and everybody on the line.
Pleasant good night to you. Did I send the information for you? Did I send it?
No, I see it.
I think I, all right, okay. I may have had it in mind, but I probably didn't. All right, thanks. I will send it tonight.
Right, that is one. And two, how we getting Rowley and DLC and all of them behind bars by tomorrow morning? That's what I want to hear tonight. Doctor, I'm listening.
Well, you know, a general elections has put them there, and the rule is that don't matter how mismanaged they would have mismanaged their responsibility, and even in circumstances where they are guilty of misbehavior in public office, contrary to the integrity in public life and the larceny act as well, because they control those major institutions such as the Commissioner of Police, such as the DPP, it's like pulling tooth from a baby, or maybe pulling somebody's eye tooth or wisdom tooth. It is that difficult. However, the way to do it in a civilized society and within the context, because bet your bottom dollar and don't believe that Trinbagonians are that naive that they are going to, of course, know that election has to be called and let Rowley have its way to postpone and postpone. You know, no. If you want to see Trinbagonians get bad, let him go and play the fool and say he postponing elections because some volcano occurred, let's say, in Devil's Wood Yard. Something nebulous as that, as we saw, and because he had all the cards in his hands, including COVID, he was able to get away with the non-presence of international independent observers. But I don't think he could do anything at all to interfere, and the people don't formally, and the opposition will have no choice as well, but so to do. Let's go to the lines. Opposition will have no choice but to do what the people say. A pleasant good night.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
How are you going?
Well, of course, as good as could be in this circumstance, only waiting for these vipers to get the hell out of office.
Well, based on the information that is coming to us, the government like they plan to privatize WASA, privatize
Hold on a while, we have another.
TSTT, the remainder of TSTT,
yes,
the remainder of TNTech. And I say this to say this. I say all of that to come to say this. If the people of Trinidad and Tobago continue to vote and vote, watch the Indians and watch this one, Dr. Rowley taking Trinidad and Tobago completely to the direction of Haiti and these underprivileged countries that the leaders who didn't come to lead mash up. And he's continuing to mash up the place. And when them done mash up the place, them have places to go in wherever they have houses and properties out of this country. But it's people like we on the ground can't run no way. We have to face it. So I'm saying this to say again, all them political parties who creating party and creating this, better they come together and join with the United National Congress and let me get rid of this People's National Movement and then investigate them, as the guy now say. You want to hear who getting locked up? When we get in there, we'll investigate them. And wherever we find, we will bring them to justice. Because they have a lot to find. And that's where they're running from. They're running, according to you, they're running from jail. And they will do anything in their power to remain in office. They will send the soul, they will sleep with the devil to remain there. Because you know why? They have a lot of things there that we will expose and bring them to justice that they are afraid of. So, Mr. Lennox, you continue doing the good work that you're doing, that in inspiring and bringing the real truth to the people about what it is taking place in this country. And I just decided doing as much investigation as I could do, try to persuade as much people as I could persuade in order for we to have a historical victory whenever the election call. Mr. Lennox, you have a good night.
Simply, I just want to say, just before we take the next call, that is what I consider to be how the process goes in a civilized society. And otherwise, we revert to barbarianism and, of course, savagery if we do not. And I'm saying that for the caller before to let him know that it's the same way Rowley couldn't wait for Kamala Prasad Bissessa to call election. He was doing the same thing, but had to wait. That's the point I'm making. So there are rules. But let's go straight to this one. Our president, good. Wait now. I have two calls on the line. Just a minute. All right, let me see if I get. All right, good. All right, Miss Santa Cruz, you go ahead. Caller, just hold on, please. Go ahead, Miss Santa Cruz.
Good night, Lennox.
Yeah, tonight is one of those nights.
With the phone line.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Lennox,
yes.
good night to you and to everybody on the chat.
Yes.
Listen, man. I sit down here with a good laugh. You know, today I was talking to somebody about that. You understand about the two phones. But you see when Tagarik were talking, you could hardly understand what he's saying.
Oh, I see.
because I was trying to pick up. I remember him talking about somebody foot was in the water and you wasn't getting the whole story.
All right.
And I would have really liked to hear what it is he was talking about. But this other caller, I don't know if because I am on the line and I'm hearing him, that I was able to hear what he said. And he did say right about you, that you bring the facts and everything to the people.
Yes.
You don't act like a tin pan, like a Good Friday rara. You understand?
Yes, yes.
And expect to come with stupidness and everybody going to believe what you are saying.
Yes.
You are bringing facts.
That's right.
You are bringing facts, just like myself.
That's right.
Just like myself, like
Unprovable
I tell
and
people,
instantaneous
I don't
proof.
need.
And
Yeah,
with
and like I tell
instantaneous
people,
proof,
I
yes.
don't need a cheerleader. You understand? This little group here that they have that calling after a caller and say that I do good. No, I am not in that group. I am a natural. I don't need that. You understand, Lennox?
Yes, yes.
And what we bring to the people are facts.
That's
We
right.
bring facts and anybody can check it.
Yes.
But Lennox, I sent you the press release from Mrs. Pasabli Cesar concerning the Auditor General.
Yeah.
And if Imbert feel that he is going to do her like what he did Jawala Ramaran, he lied. Why it is, and I mean, the Auditor General is a independent institution. Imbert have no right to be interfering in that institution. But Imbert want to have his hands in everything. But he will get a shock. He will get a shock. Leave the woman alone. But Mrs. Pasabis has already threatened that they're going to take them to court.
Yes.
They're going to take, if he don't play the report, they're going to take them to court. And she have every right to. And who want to sit down there and get her like a tin pan that Kamala and them ain't doing nothing and Kamala and them to quiet and Kamala and them this? Who exposing Rowley and them? It's Kamala and them. If Kamala and them didn't raise that issue in Parliament on Friday, nobody would never have known what it is Imbert and them doing with the Auditor General.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, thanks to her, we got a local government elections. And thanks to her again, we saw what the EBC is trying to do with the report.
That's right.
We saw what the EBC tried to do with the report. So we're all who want to beat them out like a tin pan and say she's not doing anything, you know, the saying empty vessels make the most noise.
Yeah.
That's them. That's them. You hear? And Lennox, it makes very interesting reading what it is going on here.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. This government scheming the people. They
Well, for a very long
scheming the
time.
people.
For a very long time. We have been seeing that from
You
time immemorial on
follow,
the
that's
ground
right.
report, yeah.
And if Marky Thunder Bum Bum want to come here every night, or want to go on the ground report, or wherever he want to go and talk about how great Dr. Rowley is and how good job he's doing, go right ahead. You are the only person.
Caller, just hold on, just hold on. We have
lives.
another caller on the other line. Go ahead. On the handset. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you are the only person believing your lies.
Yes.
Right? And I am waiting patiently to hear what is going to be the outcome of this thing with the 20 babies that died.
Yes.
Something has to be done about that. Something has to be done.
Yes, indeed.
Lennox, take care. Thanks a lot and have a good night.
Yeah, same to you. Same to you. Wow. We have about 3 calls now. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that caller. All right. Let me put on this one. Sorry about that. I took off the person that I disconnected. Sorry about that. It was accidental. All right, good. Let me take you one time. Let me get you back. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
It's okay. I just want to say something. It's a comment, my comment, personal.
Yes.
I just want to say that.
Just hold on. Not you. You go ahead, Miss Madras. You go ahead.
I just want to say something.
Mm-hmm.
People, the opposition gets paid every month to sit in Parliament and fight for justice. They're doing something they're getting paid for. And if they weren't doing that, then we don't have a democracy. and we support the UNC. I just feel like in my mind that more could be done, and I get fed up when people say, "Oh, it only had 5 years. She only had." The UNC was very strong. They just celebrated a 35-year anniversary or something like that. And Mr.
35.
Pandey did a lot.
Yeah.
Also 50 years, I forget. But anyway,
35. 35. 35.
35, yeah, yeah. And the thing about it is all these councillors and MPs, all these shadow MPs, they get paid. We have people who work for $1,000 a month. These people get what, 40,000 a month? That's a lot of money. And they have jobs too. Law firms, housing development, real estate companies. Half of them are doctors. So I'm not criticizing anybody here. I'm just saying they're getting paid too, folks. So they better be working, shouldn't they? That's my comment.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, caller. Oh gosh, we have another one on your line, boy. I don't know which one to take. All right, let me just switch them around. Okay. All right, let me see. Wow. All right. Anybody on this line talk? Anybody on this line talk? I'm confused now. Go ahead.
Okay, good, Mr. Knox.
Yeah.
You hearing on this line?
Yeah. You go ahead.
Okay. Good night again.
Yes.
Mr. Lennox.
Yeah.
Now, $10 billion borrowing, right?
Yeah.
Now, when the opposition of my esteemed political leader, I am UNC and proud. So when she said that they are borrowing to pay the debts, right? And you've seen where the money and that $10 billion.
Yeah. Caller, please hold on. Please hold on. I have another call on the line before you. So just hold on, right? Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Faizabad. Wait. Are you there?
I hear Faizabad speaking. I hear Mr. Lennox speaking too.
Just hold on. Don't say anything. Otherwise, I'll have to cut you off. Right, too much background noise. But go ahead, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Faizabad. We load that as well. We go too many calls, one after the other, and of course, apart from for the first time, I'm getting confused. There is a background noise that is disturbing the audio wrong by one of the callers. So please try to not have any background noise or anything playing in the background so that I can ask you to hold on and it will not disturb, of course, the person that is on the line. But before we go there, let me just, of course, say where the neonatal items went. Even though the assessing is trying to tell us that in a children's hospital, there were no neonatal. Listen to him first. This man is such a jackass that is unbelievable. Listen to him.
For what they call less urgent cases. As far as the Couva Hospital is concerned, there was no NICU. As far as the Couva Hospital is concerned.
Welcome to this media conference at the Ministry of Health.
There was no NICU.
I just want to close on one note because I just got the information maybe about 20 minutes ago. I noticed that it is being said by
the children of the Healthlines for the Wendy Fit Hospital. He sought to allay concerns rising out of the announcement that the Couva Hospital will not be solely for children, as indicated by the previous administration.
What I have suggested to the board via Chairman Romano is that, bearing in mind that you have a global shortage of specialists and subspecialists, it makes no sense to have Wendy Fitzwilliam and the Couva facility focusing on the same area of care. We will do an audit of what exists at Wendy Fitzwilliam in terms of equipment, clinical practice, and the equipment geared towards the treatment of children will be moved across. The children, once we revision Wendy Fitzwilliam, will now get a far superior level of care that we have gotten in the past. We will be rededicating the Wendy Fitzwilliam Children's Hospital as a center of excellence for treating the children of Trinidad and Tobago, whilst the Couva facility is dedicated to adult care. Whilst the Couva facility is dedicated to adult care.
Health Minister in Mount Hope, he sought to Health Minister Terence.
That is a man who said that there were no neonatal facilities at the Couva Children's Hospital constructed under the Kamala Prasad Bissesa-led UNC administration between 2010 and 2015. That man, we're going to prove tonight comprehensively that this man should be placed in blue lights and handcuffs immediately as a criminal.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Professor, good night. Yes, welcome.
Yeah, listen, I'll be very short. Listen, Trinidad and Tobago. Do we have the amount of, we have enough jails in this country, enough prisons in this country to lock up all these people?
That's a good question. We're already overcrowded, and they're saying to mash up the Port of Spain prison. So we may not have enough. It's all of them.
The amount of people that they get locked up here, you just imagine. I understand that the Auditor General was sent a protocol letter from the government.
You think it's the government or the opposition? I think it's from the opposition.
It's from the opposition. Well, no, it's from I heard the Minister of Finances is the one who I have a question mark on that. That was sent to the Auditor General.
But that's another development. That's another development. Wow. Try to follow up the tracks. Yeah.
Right. So what I want to listen. Look, the long and short of the story is simply this. This Prime Minister said he don't like no man digging up in the bomb. But we will show the Prime Minister that come voting day what our fingers can do. And I'm going with that.
Thank you. Oh boy, it gets even more bizarre and more twisted and more enigmatic. But let's go to this caller. A pleasant good night to welcome. Welcome, caller.
Good night again.
Yes. Sorry about that. Good. Yes.
No problem. I give way to all of them.
Right, good. Thanks. You pull me out there.
Yes, I give way. Yes, so now what I want to say on the Auditor General office, that she had done her work, but the $10 billion, remember he went back to Parliament to borrow.
Yes.
And when our esteemed political leader, right? I'm UNC and pro, so I let you know my allegiance.
Right.
No.
Caller, please hold on. I have another person on the handset. So hold on, please. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Faizabad.
When she said that they're going to pay debt and let's trade it over and over, and we don't know the real debt to GDP.
Yes.
Right? Now, 25, right? The under the Constitution, the core, right? The order say 25 and 26. That they could make a supplementary, right, report and submit it, so it can be added on to the present document if they had forget or did not reach the deadline.
Right.
So it's plain to see he went into the Parliament just like this Sipasad, and you see how they have a track record. This is what I get to that now. That anything, the first one was to move the Constitution so they could put two puppets on a string in the commissioner office to master the constitution when they had that account to parliament. Then with the Bliss Prasad, where they suppose that the independent body choose the commissioner of police, they want to choose it.
Yes.
So you see, they have a track record of a dictatorship. And then Rowley is come and say, that is a dictator and the slave catchers are them. How this can be a dictator when he's doing this and he's doing that? So they will understand what embedded. So when Naikwan Boring, remember that is a $55 million US, over 100 and something billion dollars, $1 million, right? In accounted debt on the books at Trinidad and the Treasury.
Yes.
So they're trying to hoodwink it and trying to tell the Auditor General to try to come up with some claim how to put it on some other entity. And the only other entity they could put it on is what? Because each ministry, it has no school building, it has no police fire brigade behind, and the coast guard down. So where are they going to put the money? So he wanted to bully the report to put it in the media review so he could do the adjustment to say that the money is spent in that way. So that's why they want it after the media review. So we catch a thief again, Mr. Lennox. And that is why now the caller who say we have to unite. We have to unite. It's very important that unity and to save our country, because the US, the PNM has been caught again thieving the purse out. Have a nice night.
Yeah, they had right up, of course, the cookie jar. Go ahead, caller. You are now.
Pleasant good night again, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Right, as Mr. Santa Cruz now said that the people saying that the opposition is not doing enough. The opposition doing work since 2015, 2020 election. Right after the election, them start working because I am keeping touch with everything. And as I want to say this, people going on and saying coalition don't work. But I want to tell them, the People's Partnership under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, which was a coalition, the amount of things them get done for the average citizen on the ground, that was a working coalition. And if we are to form a next coalition to get rid of these devils, well, then I support it full 100 because the last one did work. It worked almost close to perfect because we could talk about how much things that was accomplished under the coalition that the average man on the ground benefit from. Some of them benefiting from it still today. So all we have to know, as the last caller now say again, and I saying it back again, we have to unite. We have to put all the differences aside and move this devil. There's a devil, you know. This party is this PNM party is a devil party, you know. And if you go back and you watch history, you will realize it's a devil party. And the 30 uninterrupted years that they had, they use it not to help the people, they brainwash the people. But we're coming out of that. So, Mr. Lennox, you have a blessed one again.
Yes, man. Well said, well said. I almost tell you go to the top of the class. But of course, I'll tell you go to the top of the class. I will tell you go over the top of the class. But you're almost there. So thank you very much, of course, for that contribution. Indeed, very vital one. Yes, one of unity. And of course, he made the point about coalition, because coalition, destruction or debilitation or toxicity is a construct of the PNM. You see, the PNM would like to make us believe that that cannot work, simply because there were elements within the coalitions that we are familiar with, whether it be the NAR or the UNC partnership, where elements from within, overambitious, not bringing to the table that which is equal to what they would extract, but suddenly believe that they can hog the entire or a larger portion of the resources or the influence, and they therefore suffer from the typical, what I consider to be, power intoxicates and make men giddy. That is what has happened with these fellas, whether it be Dukaran, whether it be the MSJ, Abdullah, whether it be even former, well, I shouldn't say former, but NJAC, former leader, and deceased Makandel Daga, all of them have attempted, of course, whilst in government, having achieved through unity government, scuttle the entire thing because of their personal ambitions and their belief that somehow they are larger than that, what they brought it to the table to form the government at the time in a collision. We're gonna extrapolate more of that, because as we go along, we have to look at those variables and those elements that influence the political outcome and governance in this country. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night.
Yes, good night to you, Mr. Lennox Smith.
Yes.
I hear people talking about the UNC and doing enough. Who find they doing? But I want to ask this question.
Yes.
What they're doing up to this hour with this breaking of the democracy. There's no democracy really, you know. Remember, they controlling a lot of institutions, independent institutions. It's a long time, right? I want to know when they're going to be asking for observers for this election coming here, where is just now.
Yes.
I want to know. They can't ask Rowley, you know. They can't be talking, we want to observe. Are they doing something? That is a set of talk. You're talking, these people don't care, they don't business. Right? So they're supposed to do something. And it have real done, they don't know what they're supposed to do to get observers inside of here. So they feel by insulting Rowley and telling him he's a rapist and a pedophile and all these things, and he head ball, or he have a bobby head, his wife go with some man, and all this kind of strippiness. They feel Rowley have time with them. Rowley's a rich man. Rowley has so much money, you hear, that he don't have time with them when they say all kind of thing about him, about the head ball, how he black, how he is a blank man, etc., etc. I want to know what they're doing to get observers inside of here, because the thing crucial now. This thing with the baby death is a set of blah, 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 blah. Right?
Thank you.
I want to know.
All right, okay. Well, let me start with the position as to observers. I am fully aware that I belong to an organization. I am a member of Amnesty International, and I have done my part, as I'm doing, of course, on the ground in very hard communities that are dominated by the PNM, for example. So that it is a matter of not just edification and not just advocacy, but you have to do a little more, even though you do not have the treasury at your disposal. You see, why I'm saying this is because the opposition, I am satisfied, have been doing work in that direction as well. Otherwise, we would not have gotten a local government election so soon. Let's not waste time. And of course, we saw only on Friday the whole question of making moves to do what? To make certain that that incident with the Auditor General is not left in limbo and that the government must not believe that it is dominating. As I said, and I trust that all understand that we have a process nestled in law, and that there are those who are in the position of government will engage, I keep saying it, in an autocoup, meaning that utilizing and putting, of course, their various satellites and, of course, their cells in these institutions to do illegal things and to compromise the integrity of themselves and these institutions. But that does not mean that we all must give up and throw our hands in the air. No, because the government did not want to hold local government elections, and they had to. It's the same way that these independent observers must come here, must come. The government does not have COVID to justify the non-presence. I know that. Anybody with a modicum of common sense, and the opposition is so alert that I'm certain, because if I, as a member of Amnesty International, is talking to our British counterparts and persons there, and of course making overtures to the United Nations as far as the Human Rights Bureau is concerned, and even making overtures to the International Criminal Court, etc., including CARICOM Secretariat, and I am just an individual, I could well imagine what the opposition is doing. They have been on the ball right through. Otherwise, you could imagine things getting worse than what it... You can imagine if Rowley had gotten his way and not have the elections. You can imagine of those who were skeptical would be saying, well, these people and them, they're so ensconced, they are so entrenched that you cannot, of course, beat them at the polls. You could imagine if they didn't get the tail cut sharply in Tobago, what would have happened? Do you think that they are sitting easily when they got their tail washed in Sandy Grande? Do you think that they are comfortable that over 60,000 persons have voted more in the UNC and its partners arrangement than the PNM? No, that is a front. And anybody who come and tell me that the opposition is not working sufficiently to ensure that we have a free and fair elections, and to, of course, look at this government and its capacity to undermine. We have heard them talking about house padding. They will die trying simply because they know that the ass is grass and that they're sitting on a tender keg, and it is only when the government changes and they are cut away to the courts and so on, then the people would realize that Rowley and they are hollow. Their underbelly is consistently and persistently being eroded and exposed. A pleasant good night.
Yeah, a pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
A pleasant good night to you.
I was a good night to everybody live, everybody chat, everybody regionally, internationally. So, Mr. Lennox, I just have a few things to say, right?
Go ahead.
Why it is that the citizens in Trinidad just wait for the worst case scenario before they open them out and they speak? When UNC was in power and they spent all our money and they built that Couva hospital, that's taxpayers' money, right? And let me say the government, and when the government change and PNM come in power, we the citizens supposed to say, no, that is our money spent there and we want that open. Don't say it's not finished.
They have been brainwashed for too long. That's the problem here. Because how could you be seeing blatantly? Like, take for instance, when the Vincent Nelson matter and Rowley was up and down talking about Pamasa, all of them were saying, but listen, the PNM is so powerful. Look, they have Anand Ramlogan and Ramdeen. You know, the thing turn around and they still looking to find excuse not to realize that these people are hollow and that they are only fronting and that they can be cut down to size and will be cut down to size in the fullness of time, having regard, of course, to the simple example of Tobago. They don't see, at least some of them do not see Tobago as a significant achievement in the whittling down and the eroding of the PNM. They continue to believe that somehow the PNM is infallible and that they are electable and that they cannot be beaten far less for wounded as they are now. I mean, it is bizarre, and this is, for a fellow like me, it is disconcerting and of course insulting, frankly. But go ahead, my friend. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right, Mr. Lennox. I enjoy that. So, Mr. Lennox, so why people had the as I say, why people had to wait for the worst case scenario to open them out? When Kamala and them built that hospital for the children in South, people seem to forget that the heart and the soul and the GDP of this country was dependent on in South, Petrotrin and in Point Princess, and then down in Library side down there, energy, oil and gas. So if they build a hospital, children hospital, and spend all this money and they open it and it was commissioned in step, why it is when the government changed that the citizens in Trinidad did not see our money spent there, we wanted open it, always PNM win the new election. The same way that we sit down and we're talking about international observers and all of this, right? But if tomorrow morning Rowley come and say election is next week, people forget about international observers, they go and start to vote. You see, we always wait for the worst case scenario. When Rowley, right, come and say you're gonna call election in COVID time, saying that COVID, they don't want people here and people can't go beach and them. Why did the population then say we're not voting, we're not coming out to vote for that election when it was COVID time in 2020, when COVID was at its height, the peak? You see, we accept everything, and now we want to find things in the armor of UNC and blame UNC. Who you were going and voting after? Where you want to leave PNM in power to destroy the country when you have to pay $40 for a bread and you're working for $15 an hour? Come on, people. More than 70% of the people in Trinidad and Tobago working for minimum wage. How they will survive? How the kids will survive? And then they want crime to end. It's poverty that increases crime. And we know that this PNM government is bringing people into poverty and it will increase more and more crime. Or they don't want you to reach to the door to open for us to get like Haiti. So open your eyes. Don't look for no faults in the UNC. Vote for the UNC. Vote for Kamala if all want to see all the children future. If all want to see a better life. And if all want to get more money in all the pension, so all the senior citizens could live better. Thank you very much, Mr. Lennox, and have a good day.
That is all has to happen. But we have to also understand that the PNM will not take it lying down. So the PNM will try at all times to find opportunities to amplify, simplistic and ocious and irrelevant as it may be. But they will make it look as though it is such a big thing. Listen, they stop talking, the PNM that is stop talking about sandals. You must ask yourself why. They stop talking about the fake oil. You must ask yourself the question why. They stop talking about Rowley saying that he will never close down Petrotrin. You must ask yourself why. They stop talking about, of course, the destruction of the sea bridge and the air bridge. You must ask yourself why. They stop talking about, of course, the frequent flying of Kamala Prasad Bisesa. You must ask yourself why. And you don't understand that Rowley and them, when they get a modicum of opportunity, they exacerbate and they extract to such a degree. And the way how they weaponize government against the people and the bellicose language and the hyperboles and the grandiloquence and the hogwash that they speak. And it turns out to be nothing. These people, there's nothing sacrosanct about them. It's a bunch of devilish individuals. Understand that. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Pleasant good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you.
I just want to say happy birthday to my grandmother's sister. Today's her birthday.
All right, okay. Well, happy birthday to her, and we wish her many, many, many more. And of course, I'm sure that you too will be celebrating that birthday. And at the same time, I'm sure that I have some birthdays to announce as well in the upcoming week. Or should I say a special birthday in the upcoming week? All right?
Okay.
All right, then. Thanks. Yeah.
I just want to say that I was I was I was just walking down I was just walking down the street to get something from my mother, and then after some boys just come up to me and they try to rob me.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Big boys or small boys?
It had one big boy on a bike and two big boys on one bike too.
But you said try. Did they get through? What you did to defend yourself?
I didn't really defend myself. If I didn't hit them, I would have break up the teeth and thing. I would have break up lead, but but just say let me leave them alone. They try to rob me, but I just tell them I'm young and say I don't want no problems, and they just let me go.
You give them something?
No, I just tell them as Ace are young and thing, because as Ace and thing are young, and
right.
that's why I be going around robbing people.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Well said, man. He's a brave 8-year-old. Wow. That is magnificent. What you want to tell other young people who may want to rob people? Well, I shouldn't say want to rob, but who people may want to rob them. What would you tell them?
I'll just tell them learn to do the right things.
Okay, thank you.
And go to school more often, and probably learn some more things about being kind. And I just want to say thank you to my adopted granny from the States.
Okay. Wow. You have brought
money for my upcoming birthday.
Wow. Well, congratulations, man. And you're sounding extremely intelligent, man. And you seem to know. 8 years, you say? All right. Okay. Bye-bye. That's it. Any parting words? Because we have a lot of people on the line. All right. Bye-bye. Boy, I think this was a good I should say a tiebreaker, but certainly a stress reliever to hear, of course, a young person, 8 years of age, of course, being confronted and responding so maturely. Let's go to the lines. The President, good night. I'm on the handheld device. Good night. Let me see. Just a minute. Go ahead now.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
A few things I would like to point out, Mr. Lennox.
Go ahead.
Now, what occurred to the investigation into Call the Heart? Remember, there was a song that was championed by the UNC, Do the Crime, Do the Time.
Yes.
And I saw Call the Heart sitting in a penthouse with his daughter and his wife, enjoying taxpayers' money. What went on with that? Another thing, when you had the 5-party that made up the coalition, every leader of that party, parties, had an opportunity to act as prime minister. When Kamala Prasad Bisasa went away,
yes,
they all had the opportunity. The only individual who never wanted was Makandal Daga.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is this: when they come into power, we don't want to hear no songs about do the crime, do the time. Use your expertise in law and let these people answer for the crimes that they're committing against humanity in this country.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And have a blessed night.
Same to you, my friend. Well, of course, in the case of Koldaha, there was a commission of inquiry, and of course, that spoke for itself. But in the case of this crop of what I consider to be cabinet ministers cap and and government officials, they are too blatant. Just the recusement in the cabinet alone speaks volumes, and therefore it's easy for any rookie investigator to, of course, take action to make certain blue lights and silver bracelets become the order of the day. Oh, sorry about that, Miss Santa Cruz. I thought I accidentally cut you off, so please call back. Sorry about that. But there was a noise in the background as well. All right, good. Let's go straight there. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox, pleasant good night again.
Yes.
Pleasant good night again.
Yes.
Lennox, I tell you, Tin Pan Alley here tonight is really Tin Pan Alley here tonight, you know. Like some people was closing the fridge door when Kamala was asking Rowley for observers, international observers for the general elections.
Yes.
She wrote him and she asked him for it. So I keep telling you it over and over, Lennox. You understand? It's like a Good Friday rah-rah. The lady already did it. She asked for observers because she have to ask him. She cannot bring observers. It's the law. She cannot bring any. So when people talking about her waiting to see what she's going to do, and if she bring in any, and it's like, you know, they know it all. They know it all. But they don't know she can't do anything. And as one of your chatters rightly said, some of them should be listening to the Parliament channel to hear what it is going on. Another thing I keep hearing people talking about, Kamala had to bring people to justice. Kamala is not the DPP. Kamala can get all the evidence and take it to the DPP. If he don't want to do anything, he would not do it. Is that so hard for people to understand, Lennox? But I think it's just because they like to talk.
Well, you have made a point, and I agree with you procedurally, legally, etc. But I have gone further to say that the evidence is so overwhelming that I don't think that there is a difficulty for any DPP, whether they are pro PNM or not, to overlook that level of evidence. That is how, and I'm using here, of course, my expertise as a criminologist. The evidence is so overwhelming that and that is why they are so desperate to hoodwink and to gaslight and to make people believe that they cannot get caught. That is what is happening here. You know, the people believe that the PNM, they know the PNM are doing wrong, but they're saying that they cannot get caught. So if you know that they're doing wrong, assuming that the government change and it's obvious they will get caught, because they will have to face the criminal and the civil justice system. That's the point I'm making. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand your point, you know, Lennox.
Yeah.
Lennox, look at all the evidence that he had with Landate. And it is still sitting on his desk. The Sealy report said that a crime was committed and somebody need to be charged. Anand Ramlogan was going to reopen that case where they went against him with the witness tampering. Look at the evidence against Vincent Nelson and the witness tampering.
Now we are talking.
And
no, let me be more specific. But let me be more specific. You could gaslight, you could circumnavigate, you could locate those earlier ones, but you cannot avoid the Vincent Nelson matter. You cannot avoid the Brent Thomas matter. You cannot avoid the
Darryl Smith. Darryl Smith, the pom-pom grabber.
No. And that's a different.
You cannot afford that.
They have taken it to another level where they must be prosecuted. They must. They have no, whosoever it is, whether they're pro-PNM or not, as the DPP, they have no choice. They must do that in the next dispensation. They have to. I can't see Rowley and them getting away. Why do you think he put the president there? The president is there as the bulwark, should in case, because she can pardon a person before they get prosecuted and after they get prosecuted, you know. That is how. And she will have at least a year there before, of course, she is elected out of that office. So understand what is happening here. That is my only fear. That is my only fear.
But Lennox also, you look at all the evidence that was against Calder Hart for perjury, and look at all the evidence against Payner, and the DPP did nothing.
Yeah.
He did nothing.
So there's a
that is why. That is why we have to keep reminding the people when they go, oh, I hope Kamala is sit down. And when she go, she charge all of them. Kamala cannot charge anybody.
No,
so
I
get that out of all your head.
You see, I don't believe that they mean that. I believe they understand what you are saying.
No, Lennox. No. They mean Kamala had to charge them. Because that is the sing song. That is the drum that they're beating.
Well, they were saying Rowley had to charge them too. So I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I don't think Rowley had to charge them. When you say Rowley caused, for example, Anand Ramlogan to be charged, a person who is pro-PNM will feel comforted about that and glad about that. The only problem is that the entire thing was concocted. You don't have to concoct anything with respect to Rowley and the Rowley.
We know that.
Right? So therefore,
we know that.
Right. So in those circumstances, there's a different ball game altogether. And
you see, Lennox.
The intent is pure.
You see, Lennox. Why I beg to differ with you.
Go ahead.
I am on the chat. I am hearing the people on the chat. I am reading what the people putting on the chat. So that is why I can come and say. But I
wouldn't take them literally. You see, I wouldn't take them literally at all, because they would have seen and understand what transpired with Rowley. He was saying the same thing. They would have seen what transpired even prior, and those examples that you draw, whether Calder, etc. But in this particular case, even if they didn't want to charge, let me put it this way, even if they didn't want to charge, Rowley and them had to be and must be charged, because it is so blatant.
Well, you know why? They will have to be charged? Because Anand Ramlogan will be the new Attorney General.
Now you're talking. Now you're coming around to where I'm coming from.
Anand Ramlogan will be the new Attorney General.
That is where we're coming from.
And they will deal with Rowley and them.
That's right.
They will be charged. But in the meantime, Lennox.
Yes.
I read, I listen to the Parliament channel, right? Kamala and them, they are doing their best. Or what I should say, better than their best.
No one could doubt that seriously.
Right. No, but there are a lot of people that doubted that. They feel Kamala and them so long they're doing nothing.
They are sympathizers for the PNM. They are operators for the PNM. You must know that. A person who of course is so dense and cannot see beyond their noses. It's clearly because they are wishful thinkers. They are wishing it will happen, but it will. These fellows must be charged. They are too blatant.
They are too
conspicuous. And they're too obnoxious and bold-faced with their larceny of the people. Look at Balize House. How them wiggling themselves out of a organization that was broken. Rowley say broken by $4 million when he got it. And by the time his first term was finished, he billed something for $100 million. And that must not generate an inquiry, in spite of the fact that a party may be a private entity. Come on.
And Lennox, Mrs. Prasad did say when she gets into office, they are going to investigate Balize House.
Well,
they are going to do it.
These things are too
There are
blatant.
a lot of things that she said that they are going
These
to
people
investigate.
believe that the treasury is theirs. It is a
That's
far cry
right.
from what they have accused Kamala Persad-Bissessar of. What they accuse Kamala Persad
Yeah.
of what? I can't even remember. That is to tell you how stupid these allegations were. All they were saying is that they corrupt. You can't tell me they corrupt with respect to the velodrome. You can't tell me they corrupt with the cycling center.
Lennox,
They
all
can't
they
tell me
could
the
have talked
hospitals.
was about Section 34. All they could have talked was
And
Section
that was
34 and
not
night sport.
corruption. That was not the corruption that we talked about. That is to say, a person wasn't taking anything for their personal benefit. There was no thieving and raiding the treasury in those circumstances.
But SRP Cape didn't find anything, Lennox. SRP Cape was paid $50 million.
In that circumstance, there was no stealing, but they would say that they are corrupt. And when, of course, the investigation comes, no evidence.
And before I leave, I'll tell you this.
Go ahead.
The lies that brought Rowley into office are the same lies that is going to take him out of office.
Obviously.
Thanks a lot, Lennox.
Yes, indeed. So don't be too perturbed. President, good night. Welcome on the hands. You on the handset. Hello?
Welcome. Good night, Lennox.
Yes. A lot of activities taking place.
This is why I love the Santa Cruz. I wish I could get her email. Like
Yes. She is steady in her position, and we have
she has so much history in her.
Yeah, she's passionate.
But she mentioned about the elections.
Yes.
That's why I hopped on the phone one time. She mentioned about the elections.
Yes.
So I think me and you got to talk about that. Like, it's got to be some way that the whole country is fed up, and there must be a way that everybody can write to. And I got some addresses. Everybody can write to, right? Like the Independent Parliament Union.
Yes. Well, I spoke to you on that, and I will be sending something to see in your neck of the woods whether or not you can get it to where I would like it to go. So we will talk, and I asked you for a listing of independent institutions.
You have my number anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Good, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
And Miss Santa Cruz is a bomb. You're really informative, okay? Have a good night, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
When she holds on to a point, she doesn't like to let it go unless it is absolutely necessary and overwhelming. So, and I like people like that because, of course, it not just reinvigorates, but of course attracts attention. And I think that is important. Have people focus on what they are talking about and what the issues are. President, good night. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Lennox, I know I'm watching time, so I will be quick.
Yes.
So I just have a message for everybody. Let me tell everybody something. All who looking for the kings in UNC are man who don't want to vote for UNC and who feel that they want to give back PNM that chance for 5 years again to destroy your life so you can't eat, drink, sleep, you can't do no future for your children. Let me tell you something. If you make that mistake and you vote back for PNM, all you're doing nothing to UNC party, you know. All you're doing nothing to UNC party because let me tell you something. Miss Kamala lost the election because it's through the stupid voters who don't want to vote the right way for policies. And she lose the election. She will step down and she will get a big pension. And she children and them living abroad. And she husband will be traveling and going all over the place. And the same thing with all the rest of the ministers and in UNC, they will still be in opposition now. Because if you want to make a stupid decision and vote back in PNM, and they will be getting their money and all their children living abroad, and all is the citizens who will suffer. So don't make the right decision. Look for the wrongs with UNC, and UNC is doing this and UNC that, where you want to vote back in PNM, so then you can eat. People, be wise. is 2025 coming and time for us to focus on the truth and to get rid of this PNM government. Thank you very much for listening and have a good night.
Yes, sir. Same to you, of course. This will be the final call now, because of course it's after 10 o'clock. Tomorrow, of course, is a Monday, and therefore the ground report from 6 to 9, and then of course tomorrow night we'll get back and we probably can continue. I have a video that I had to play to refute, of course, that situation developing in the neonatal. Should I say system in Trinidad and Tobago, but I have to do that tomorrow. But Professor, good night. Professor, good night.
Yes, hello again, Lennox.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, Lennox. You
Yes.
hear me clearly?
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Listen, this English language, the English language is very hard for some people to understand. It have a lot of educated dunce, you know. It's so simple. I said that she keep asking Rowley, and Rowley have no time with her. He is not the UNC. They are an organization, they are a whole body, they have some power, and the right is to go to the Organization of Americas. I've said many times. Let that woman from Santa Cruz check up on these things, how that organization does operate. It have the Commonwealth. They are strong organizations. They won't just jump in so as a sovereign country. If she, Kamala, have to ask them, Rowley wouldn't go to them to make things hard for himself with an election. What the hell is she talking about? She write to him. Who the hell is he? You hear when the reporters ask him if he will bring observers when it had the local election? Rowley say, no. What the hell?
But I don't think.
You have brains to remember everything from since all 1962 come right up everybody business. Mind your business with the OAS and learn something and stop talking shite and making bacchanal all the time. I get fed up by you.
All right, I don't think we need to get personal, except to say that whether Kamala Prasad Bisesa right, it will be up to Rowley still to have the invitation prepared. Let's not waste time with that. It is not a bad thing to have Kamala Prasad Bisesa right, because Rowley wrote to who? To the Commonwealth and the CARICOM, and I have a copy of the letter. And he put in it. He had the audacity, the temerity, and the gall and the effrontery to put in it that Kamala Prasad Bisesa and they generated emails to show that they wanted to kill a journalist and to, of course, bug the office of the DPP, etc., etc., etc. Rowley put that in it. But the Commonwealth sent back and tell Rowley they cannot interfere. You know what I say? I say the Commonwealth sent back and say that the same thing will have to be said to Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Is not that she can write. They know that. But you have to find another way to get around that if Rowley insists on not calling and having observers. And of course, at any rate, you don't have to wait. We saw it happen in Grenada. We even see it right now unfolding in Venezuela. Rowley, once he engaged in brinksmanship and take it to the level where it is a clear case of a breach of our right to vote, as the Privy Council rightly said, for the local government, and he tries that for the general elections, the wrath of the Americans, the wrath of OAS, the wrath of the United Nations, the wrath of the United States itself and the State Department, the wrath of CARICOM itself will come down on this Rowley administration. He knows how to play the game. I accept that. Why you think after having sent back 82 persons on a plane sent by Maduro, sent by Maduro after people were in fact engaging the United Nations on refugee status, etc. Why you think he opened up the country? He opened up the country. He opened up the country and create what he called registration of all them Venezuelans when he had the opportunity simply to identify a parcel of land in Caroni. And then, of course, put down tents as is happening in the Middle East, in Syria. Why do you think he did that? Because he wanted to appease the Americans. That's all. But let him try to not have observers and see what's going to happen. I have already written, I wrote it to the Carter Foundation, one of the institutions that was responsible for overturning the elections in Guyana and instituting the new government. They're telling me about. So I am clearing my mind. They will try their best to make you believe that somehow there is something sacrosanct about them and that they cannot be defeated. But Tobago show all of that. Why worry? Just get to the polls and do what you have to do, and everything else will follow suit. A pleasant good night.
All right, Lennox, let me see if I can make this thing quick. I'm going in a different direction here now. People are trying to Tobago, the right thinking, people are trying to Tobago. Here, what it is we are doing here now, based on all the information that we get from the callers that call in tonight. We have to put this problem right now in God's hand. We have to pray and ask God to give us health and strength until Rowley give that date for the election. And then we have to also ask God, we have to vote in our best interest to secure the future of Trinidad and Tobago, to make it blossom again, because right now we are not standing on fertile ground. So we have to put God in the center of all of this chaos that we are going through. Don't ask God to take all the problem and ask him to take me through. This will come to pass. Remember this. It will come to pass. The PNM is going into the cemetery one way or the other. Electoral and listening.
Well, I interpret that to mean very simple. He helped those who help themselves. You fail to help yourself? Well, that's it for you. And of course, as Abraham Lincoln once said, a great, of course, American president, do not ask others to do for you that which you can do for yourself. Let me repeat, it was Abraham Lincoln who said, do not ask others or do not expect others to do for you that which you must do for yourselves. And that is what that young man just said. He helped those who help themselves. And of course, it is in your best interest to eliminate this viper, this curse, and this evil. Eradicate it. You have the power in your index fingers. A pleasant good night.
Yeah, Mr. Lennox, good night once more again. Listen, I don't know if you're aware, because I'm not saying this is confirmed as yet, but I understand that Joe Biden, right, with the sanctions for Venezuela, that Trinidad and Tobago name is mentioned in it, and that Joe Biden and them had mentioned that Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela, right, have a lot of underhand dealings. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I'd like you to check it out. Okay, with that, I go.
Yes, thank you very much. You know, the United States is a very wise society, and the government acts in its best interest. So it will say it has nice relationship with Trinidad and Tobago, and the ambassador will come out and say, listen, Stuart Young, you lie. I asked you about Delcy Rodriguez. That is how the Americans will operate. Understand that. So you could be right, you could be wrong. But what I know for a fact is that they would have known about that shipment of gasoline that ended up in Venezuela, and they knew Trinidad and Tobago had something to do with it. They knew too that sanction plane that brought Delcy Rodriguez here was not right, and the ambassador expressed that. You had to be naive and a total backside like Rowley to believe that the Americans are 100% and that they love you. I suppose he's selling that, of course, to those who are willing to buy a dream, an illusion. Tell me what I want to hear talk, like members of his cabinet. Right now, we telling the cabinet, look what happened in the UNC. Just give them a little time. I will call election as soon as the time is right. Well, he did the same damn thing in Tobago. When he was assured that 3 additional seats will give him the edge by 1 vote or so, he didn't mind that. If he got 8 seats. He didn't mind that. 8 and 8 is 16. So he didn't mind that. And in Trinidad, and in the national election, he don't mind if he get 21 seats. We must make sure and hand it to the UNC and whatever configuration, 28 seats minimum, I say. Minimum. That is where we are going. All the upheaval in the UNC. We've been there before, so I'm not going to pay attention to that. Even Pandey tried that in the same UNC, but when the power shifts, as it did into the hands of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, nurtured by, of course, the people like even Gypsy and, of course, Warner, to nurture Kamla Prasad Bisesa, I had to accept that as a fact. But when it became within grasp, within reach, she proved to be a giant of a woman. And she said tonight, I was up at the award ceremony. She said tonight that those who walked out in the parliament to when, of course, they could have gotten edge on the PNM in the parliament for probably the first time in terms of voting down a particular measure. She only said it's just a matter of time. But it was a matter of time for even Basio Pandey, when, of course, the MPs turned on him and he was no longer leader of the opposition. So I am not perturbed. No one has told me who they will replace. And no one has told me that the internal elections of the UNC was supposed to be last week or last month. No one told that. What we know is that constitutionally it is due sometime in the future. So the objective is clear. And those who are positioning themselves know full well that they will be excommunicated or they will not be considered. And so they're trying, of course, like Ramona and others, to flex their political muscle and to create couture. But of course, the PNM will see that as an opportunity, and I wish they take it. I wish Rowley say election is next month. His ass will be grass. And I want to say categorically, I have been saying over the years, Rowley's a pedophile and a rapist. And don't tell me he ain't studying that. Don't tell me he's studying that. You're mad. He ain't studying that. Well, let me tell you something. He wrote it to the radio station through his lawyers, through that, to close down the blasted station when I said that he's a rapist and a pedophile. That is a man who is studying that. Let me go further. On a UNC platform, when in the local government election before the last one, a young man on a UNC platform said that Rowley is a raper man. And he went, of course, on election day and said that he's going to take the young man to court. And when I said that, listen, I will give you a witness statement, and I called his lawyer on air talking about Michael Kwamina and said that I have been talking and saying that your client, Keith Christopher Rowley, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, is a rapist and a pedophile for the past year. He said in a sort of effeminine voice, a woman voice, All right. He ain't studying that. Why you think the PNM had to, of course, concoct a video with Miss Gat Allen, the woman who, in her childhood, he Rowley raped as a teacher? Why you think the woman's arm was in defense of Rowley, knowing full well that their chances of getting 30 pieces of silver would have dissipated if, of course, the police had done their investigation, and that by itself would have caused Rowley and they to lose electability. We're telling him about. We're telling him about. He don't care. Well, anybody who cannot see that Rowley and they are fighting for their political life, then you shouldn't be in politics and you shouldn't be debating, man. You should not be debating anything. If you cannot see that, it's any port for a storm. When Rowley, the representative for Shogunas West, stood up to speak in a debate recently, 2 Fridays ago, Rowley and them started, including Rowley. I'm convinced that now. I'm convinced of that now. And I will bring the tape. I will bring the tape. They start to knock the desk. Why do you think they knocking the desk? Because they love the parliamentary representative? No, because they believe that somehow the UNC will be weakened by that nonsense that they're engaged in. It's not waste time. He ain't studying that. He have money and he's studying that. He's studying that in spite of all the money that he thief, that he could make a jail at 70 and go in. That's what he's studying. We tell him about. Look, let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night.
Lennox.
Yes.
You're sure right. Rowley going to call the election. You know why I'm telling you that?
Yes.
When you ask things about the firemen in the parliament, he get totish. You want to know how they know that? The PNM people are exposing them. The firemen and then expose their minds.
That's right.
All he could say was, you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead. Let me if you hear why you.
I just want to move on with my to say my piece.
Yes.
Right? So it's bothering him how PNM will come around and talk about it doing.
That's right.
And nobody done gone mad already. As you know.
They're desperate and people calling on this live with a fella like me and trying to argue that he have enough money and he comfortable. That is a joke of the century. He had the money and he can't sleep.
How you gonna sleep, Lennox?
Can't sleep. They tell him about. Yeah, can't sleep. He knows that they will be gunning for him all with all their might and all of their guns training on him and cocked at the waist. What you tell him about? Yeah.
You all of them, UNC people?
Yeah.
From all of them?
Yeah.
Them done for them.
That is normal in the UNC. But the leadership prevails. The leadership prevails. Where are they today?
I'm going to happen to them.
Yeah.
What party are going up for? And I hear somebody call and say, everybody should get together. We want that, you know. Kamala had 19 seats already. Fadi had 2. Fadi had 2, right? So we started off 1920. Kamala bumped up in 2 seats in Rowley area, or 3. Rowley can't win no seat in Kamala.
That's it. I don't know where's the hue and cry and the hullabaloo about. Just get to the polls and grip your finger. Go ahead. That's
all them do ballasting and all of them.
Yeah.
Them say that's stupid and the man with the motor can't bring you with him.
All right, I see Silver Fox here. I'm taking the last call. It's 22 minutes past 10 already. Oh gosh, all the wicked to keep me up so long. Yeah. I had to get back up for 6 o'clock in the morning, people. So let me take this last call from Silver.
You can talk tomorrow.
Yes. And then of course we will. Let me see if I get this from Silver Fox, and then we will We'll come to an end. I really taking no more call after Silver Fox. Let me see if I get Silver Fox if he's still there. Silver Fox, call back if you can. But I want to end as I started, with respect, of course, to the puerile, infantile, and dotish response by Hines. Let me just get Silver Fox, and then, of course, we will conclude. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, man. You're going to close out the program tonight, man. Stay all night, man.
No, I had to go up 2 o'clock to start research for tomorrow. You know, Andy doesn't do any research, and I start to do all the research.
You're going to go the program tomorrow, man. Program going nice tonight.
Yeah.
But I'll call and talk on the program tomorrow, but I just want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Money don't bring you happiness, you know. Money bring you destruction.
Especially wait.
How much money you have?
Wait, Silver Fox, first, especially when you're thief it. That's all.
When you're thief it.
Yes. You can't be comfortable. Thief money, but I'm saying he's comfortable. Come on.
They're calling themselves honorable. They are honorable thieves, but tomorrow.
Dishonorable. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I don't want to keep you up too late.
All right. Okay then. Thanks very much for that sympathetic consideration. All right.
Yes, man. I'll talk on the program tomorrow.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, people. Let me just conclude what I started with Hines. Hines, in response, of course, to those fire workers, those fire officers that took their beds and somewhere else out of the dormitory because they were non-working, and I'm emphasizing non-working air-conditioned units, 6 in number. You know what he turned and said? Hines turned and say, when Muniral asked, well, listen, these things were done 3 months, he gave the impression that the information was brought to the attention of the authorities just early this month, and in 2 or 3 days' time, it was rectified, but only four of the 6. That's the first thing. But he then went on to say the most phantasmagorical story. I thought that Mr. Tagarigua would have mentioned it, but I need to mention it. Apart from saying that the matter has been remedied and I don't want to be bothered. No, that is not the issue. The issue was that he said that the reason why those fellas put their mattresses outside and so on was because they were cleaning out and that they are patriotic. I mean, you have to be a backside. You have to be an ass and a half to, of course, a big man to come in a parliament and talk that kind of hogwash. I mean, it's cesspool talk. His mouth probably is stink with putrid, and of course, all kind of cesspool material. How the hell you come up with that, Hines? How you could say that these fellas are patriotic and they put their mattresses elsewhere to sleep because they're cleaning out their dormitory, but they only move the mattress. Well, Hines, you're such an ass. To clean your bedroom, you don't put your bed outside. And you know, if I was on Prince Street, I tell him how we mother make him for that kind of statement. And in Laventille, they took 1 clout for that stupid talk. 1 clout. They put the mattress outside or put it in the next place to sleep. And you are saying that they are patriotic and they're looking to clean out their dormitory? And who will believe you when in fact There must be janitors and so on to, of course, to take care of these matters. The officers themselves don't, I would assume, will not be responsible for cleaning these areas. You must have people who are non-officers doing that. Or if officers are doing it, officers that are assigned to do it, but not taking the mattress out. I mean, the man is such an ass. It is ad nauseum. It is sickening. And that is why I keep saying, don't be surprised one day when Imbert realize and Rowley realize that nobody takes them on. They will come up with the most phantasmagorical story that the $8 billion that they got as a result not of Heritage making any money in excess, but because of the Russian-Ukraine war. Don't be surprised if Rowley come up and say that he, Hines, Imbert, Stuart Young, Apron Brown, and all of them, they were the ones that caused the Ukraine-Russian war. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. You had to be a nincompoop of extraordinary vintage to listen to these fellas still, and worse yet, as I've heard tonight, giving them some kind of credit to some kind of position. A bunch of conmen and criminals. And yesterday, a blasted rapist and pedophile, and don't tell me he ain't studying that. He damn well studying it, otherwise he will not go through these long and convoluted responses, as I said. And because he has not responded to me as I expected, because he is not prepared to defend his name in the courts, tell me that. Well then, I sent him a pre-action protocol letter, and it's just a matter of time before he gets the full bundle from the courts. Because I reverse it on him and say to him, you accuse me of lying on you. Then you come and prove that I lied to you, that you didn't rape Miss Allen, and that it didn't happen in 1969, and that Gat Allen wasn't your son, your first son, and that Miss Allen was not 17 years of age, and 9 months before that, she could have been 16 years, and worse yet, we could assume that you were having an affair with her at the age of 15 or 14 or 13 or even 12. That is what he has done. We're telling him about. We're telling him about. He in business. I will play for you. I interview with, of course, regionally renowned journalists leading up to the election, when he said that Gat Allen's mother exonerated him. It's a good thing. She spoke for herself to exonerate him, and all the evidence is there where he's a blasted rapist and a pedophile, and he didn't care. He didn't care, but sending threats to the radio station to get me off the station. Well, he can't get me off the corridor, though. Can't get me off. So whilst, of course, I respect people's views, but once it doesn't meet the standard of logic and common sense, and will want, of course, to deteriorate or to render neutral one's intellect, I have a serious problem with that. He happy with his money? Ill-gotten money? Can't account? Why you think he was up and down in the local government election trying to defend the indefensible, and of course saying that the people in his party gather up money, over $100 million to build that monstrosity? Why you think he's doing that? So people, we have come to the end. Tomorrow night I will continue. It is already, of course, half past 10, and some people say don't stop, but no, I have to. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. I'm sorry I wasn't able, of course. I have a very serious video. I'll play it tomorrow night on the comprehensive reason, and that the minister himself is culpable with the one that is on screen now, but there's one even more devastating. Comprehensive, to show that these fellas are miscreants and they are not guilty of not just misbehavior in public office, but larceny. Larceny, a bunch of kleptocrats, deceivers, ignoramus, and individuals who clearly have no place in government and ought not to have been, and the PNM itself a criminal enterprise under which all of that took place over the last 9 years so far. So people, as we end, of course, as Sunday would bring us, we like, of course, to end with a religious tone, and I trust you enjoy my, what I consider me Sunday theme song. And that is, of course, and that is this. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow night, we will be back at 8 o'clock, but tomorrow morning, Andy, Mikey, and myself on the ground report from 6 to 9. On the ground report tomorrow morning and tomorrow night, we'll be back.